Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Bailey Unicorn Cadiz. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. Starting off first, we have your black hitch head here with black lever that you have to have pulled up like so, to then be able to wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar, causing it to snap down, pushing up that red button and exposing the green ring. You then have your breakaway cable just here, which legality states if you have an eye point it has to be used, if not, wrap it around the tow bar. You have your handbrake just here, which is on a gas strut, so to release it, press in, push it down to the bottom. You'll hear a first initial click, but you do just have to give it a bit of a wrench back just so it's completely on. You then have your towing electrics, which is a 13 pin, so if you do have a 7 pin adaptation, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. However, you may lose a couple of functions such as ALCO ATC. You then have your jockey wheel, which is situated on the side, used to level the caravan, and when travelling that also sits on the outside of the A-frame. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, you have inserts for your legs. Now the caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or alternatively you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs, they are simply used for stabilisation. Then we have the plug-in for your mains just here, which just slots in nice and evenly. Then going on to the opposing side, starting off first, we have your plug-in for your water. So water plugs into here, nice and easy. All you have to do is press this in and press down on the cap. You have this white cap to go over the top of the acroll to ensure no nastiness gets in. And then at the bottom we have your strainer. Now it's crucial that the strainer sits at the bottom of the bow to allow the maximum potential of water to come through. We then have your flue just here. That is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler when operating on gas. You don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. We then have your gas locker, which has 2 points for gas bottles that you have to have the straps around, and then we have the actual regulator for the gas, and that is connected on, hand tightened as much as possible, and then just a bit of a nip up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight. Black gas hoses will run for 5 years, and this one is dated 25. I'd also always recommend using propane rather than butane, just because it has a better performance in winter. Motor mover will be gone over on collection, and then we have the 2 points where your wastewater is going to come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point on site. Then here we have your toilet function. So to remove it, press up on the orange handle, pull out like so. Now this handle does also extend out and up, so it can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. What you want to do is twist this head to the side, open up this cap like so, then lift up, tilt, and at the same time continually pressing that button to vent. And then what you can do is open up this compartment, feed in some fresh water, give it a shake, and again tilt and vent. On this cap you have measurements both imperial and metric, and that's for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, twist the cap on, twist the head to the side, and then what you want to do is push this in so the orange handle sits behind those white teeth. Above that we have your flush tank. Now this has a capacity to hold around 12 litres of water. However, I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10, as you don't want to overfill the compartment. You can also add some pink chemical, which works as a bleach without being corrosive. However, please do not put actual bleach down. Now you don't want to travel with either of these two full, so just to the side, got a little bung to drain off any remaining water in the system. The caravan itself will be fully drained off before you take it. Then in your floor you have your battery integrated just here, which is also strapped down, and if you ever need to take off a battery, it's with 12 or 13mm spanner. It then has this cover to go over the top, so it's nice and integrated. Under the fridge you have your trips and fuses, all your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position. I'd always recommend to carry some extra fuses across the caravan. Underneath your right hand side seat, you have your boiler just here, which you have a panel if you ever need to pull it back. And behind it, you can see you have your drain valve. Now, facing in the position as it is now, that is allowing the flow of water to come through. However, switch it to the vertical position and that will drain off any remaining water in the system even. You will collect the caravan with that in the upright position. And anytime you come off site, drain it off, and November to March have that up permanently, unless you're actively using the caravan, as you don't want frost to burst the pipes. Here we have your toilet system, which is fog simple. Lift the lid, press the button on the side, and you can hear that pump. That is what will push through the water inside the system. And to remove the waste, press away on the handle, opens up the cassette, pull it back towards you to shut it up, and then in time the cassette is full, there'll be a red light on there to tell you to empty. Then here we have your main control panel. So you have your on and off button just here, which will also tell you the amount of charge that is inside the caravan at the moment. Now, as I'm plugged into mains, that's not going to be an accurate representation of the amount from the leisure battery. However, if I wasn't plugged in, it would tell me the exact amount. You then have internal light using this switch here, and awning light using that switch right next to it. You then have your pump switch here. Press it in, and what will happen is there'll be a green light on there telling you that water is being drawn through and put into the actual system itself. The green light represents it's being drawn through and pressurized. Then what you want to do is come over to your taps, open up on both hot and cold, and you want to let it run for about 30 seconds. Now what you're after is a nice steady continuous stream. If there's any cross or splutters, check the drain valves in the correct position. You've got plenty of water in your rack roll, and that your strainer is sat at the bottom of the barrel. If issues persist, just have a look at those. It may be a case that if you've not used it in a while, there's a couple of airlocks to start off with. But you want to open it up on both cold and hot. I'm not going to open it up on hot at the moment because I don't have the boiler on. But that's what you want to do. So simply enough, main on and off, interior light, awning light, water pump. Then here we have your ADA control panel. So turn it on using this button on the side. It will then do its startup programming. You'll then come to that screen, which tells you the current internal temperature of the caravan and that it's plugged into mains. Press menu and you come to this screen. So first up, we have the house with the thermometer in it. That is the internal temperature of the caravan that you desire. So it goes up to a maximum of 30, and whatever you set it to, it will get to that temperature in around about an hour. If it's a nice sunny day like this, it will take about an hour, but if it's absolutely dog miserable, it may take a little while longer. This you can either press and hold, or you can individually tap as well. Shower icon is representative of your hot water, so you can either have it completely off, midway, which will get the water temperature to around about 40 to 50 degrees, or on full. Now, what full does, it's a boost setting for the actual caravan. And what that means is that the water is then prioritized as being heated over the caravan. That lasts for about 30 minutes and then it will drop it back down to midway. Then lastly, we have your energy sources. So you can either have 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts of electric. Now do be aware that some sites do not have 3 kilowatt capacity. Or you can use strictly gas or gas and a mixture. So you've got the choice of gas, mains or both. Then settings is on the cog. I'm not going to run through them as we have set this to what we believe the most user-friendly panel to use. However, if you'd like to have a look inside your book pack to see what they represent, then please do so. Now, this screen as well will fade off when not interacted with, so it doesn't disturb you whilst you sleep. However, that green LED will stay on, but to completely turn it off, just press in. Then just here we have your hob, grill and oven. So all of this operates on gas minus the electric plate. Spin that to whatever mark and it will get to temperature. Everything else you have to press in on the dial, twist it to the side and press it on your igniter. Now it may be a case that these will light up and then cut out. That is natural. It just means the gas needs to come through the system, or it may take a little while to first ignite. but this is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all burners nice and lit. Turn it off, back to the central position. And it's your same concept for your grill, so let's see if I can do this with one hand. You can see both sides nice and lit there. That may be a case one side will light and then the other side will light. And lastly, we have your oven. Now make sure as well that these trays do not intrude on the igniter, as otherwise it cannot light itself. But you can see there, if my camera would focus on it correctly, that it is then lit. Only other real thing to note, if you're travelling with a gas bottle, make sure the gas bottle itself is turned off. Please do not have any heating on inside the van as well whilst travelling. And you have to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all of these are nice and cold. Then lastly, we have your fridge operation. So all of the operation is done through these parts on the top. This side allows you to choose your source. So facing to the upright position, that is completely off. However, we'll go to mains. You can see when the fridge is on, a few lights come on. So we've got the choice of mains, or that battery symbol, which is representative of 13-pin electric whilst towing, and only that. You cannot run this fridge on leisure battery. Or you have gas. Now for today I'm going to run it on gas, however I wouldn't recommend doing that until you've checked through all your hob grill and oven first. You then have a power gauge, so the thicker the bar, the more power coming in, and that is the same for all of these sources. However, because we're on gas today, what we need to do is get it so it is then ignited. So we have to press in on that and press in on this igniter at the same time, quite firmly. So you press in both of them in, you'll gradually hear it tick in, and what will happen is that orange bar will begin to float over into the green. Now it's not an instantaneous thing, it can take a little bit of time, around 30 seconds, but I'll show you what it looks like in the green now. And there we go, you can see from both sides, nice and firmly into the green. You want it so it's more or less centered into the actual green itself for it to stay there. Now when I switch over to mains, you will see it instantly drops out, and even when I go back over to gas, it will gradually begin to tip itself out, so you'll just have to redo it. Now these fridges do take around 4 hours to fully chill, so you can either chill the night before or chill whilst towing using that setting.